Today, we're going to talk about something that's kind of considered the foundation of life.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And those are essential amino acids. So we're going to take a deep dive into a lot about them, why we need them. Or let's just say we're going to discuss what they are.
Right.
What they do for our health.
That's right. Which is a lot.
A lot.
So many things.
It's a lot to cover. I have a lot of notes here because I don't want to forget anything.
But you have it all upstairs too.
Yes, but we tend to forget things. Who needs essential? There you go. Who needs essential amino acids and benefits of free-form amino acids? So we'll explain that a little bit more if you don't know what that is. And then, of course, we're going to break it down, discuss our product itself, because there's other benefits in besides just amino acids.
It's an incredible product.
Really is.
Power.
So if you don't already subscribe to our channel, please make sure you do. It helps you get all this quality information as well. It helps us. We love your feedback, comments, likes. I was alerted that the comments were turned off, and I'm on YouTube, and I'm always saying, leave your comments. Sorry about that. They're on. They should be on. But again, we're across all platforms right now, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So write in your comments, questions. We will address some questions at the end pertaining to this topic that we're talking about today.
Cool.
Ready? All right. So let's just go essential amino acids. I'm just going to give it to you defined, right? First off, essential amino acids, without them, our body cannot build muscle, cannot repair tissue, cannot produce vital hormones or sustain peak performance. So it's a lot all there. It's not just about muscle. So whether you're an athlete, whether you're recovering from illness, whether you're aging or just wanting optimal health. I mean, these are.
So that's everybody.
Yeah, I just basically put everybody into a category. Getting enough essential amino acids is a non-negotiable for strength, energy, longevity, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So essential amino acids, they are essential.
Yes,
right?
have to get them from your food or diet.
Essential.
Yep.
We do not get,
our
bodies do not make them. So we must get them from external sources, which is diet and supplementation. So that's a key thing here with essential amino acids, because there's so many things that we know about, like our body makes, and maybe it declines as we age, but we're still producing it, maybe a little less, and supplement can help. But this is something that we must get from our diet. When I talk about diet, supplementation also goes hand in hand with that.
And there's the non-essential amino acids too,
sure.
Right? So we know the 9 essential, and then there's all these other non-essential amino acids. But from dietary sources, what would those look like?
Meat, it comes from
usually
meat,
protein,
eggs,
right?
dairy, soy, if you're vegetarian,
right?
Some nuts and seeds,
anything protein rich, because protein is made up of, you guessed it, amino acids.
Yes,
they're the building blocks of the protein. So
yes. So the fact that our body cannot make this on our own, cannot synthesize it on our own, must get it from our diet. They're crucial for protein synthesis, muscle repair, enzyme hormone production, overall metabolic function. And I want to read to you the 9. It's not like you're having a quiz and you need to know these 9, but the reason I want to read them off and just tell you a little tidbit of like what it's important for, because I want to open your eyes to the fact that it's not just about muscle. So sometimes we say the word muscle, and maybe some of you don't really care how important muscle is, and we'll get into really why it's so important.
Yep.
But I just want to let you know that it's involved in essential amino acids are involved in so much. So going through the 9, we have leucine. Okay, stimulates muscle protein synthesis.
That's the big hitter.
Yes, which I'm going to go into detail on really what that is if you don't really know. It aids in muscle recovery and growth. And then you have isoleucine, supports muscle metabolism, endurance, and immune function.
Yep.
Valine helps muscle repair, energy production, and mental focus.
Cognition.
Lysine, essential for collagen production, immune support, and calcium absorption.
Yep.
These are also important things, so crucial. Lysine, I just said that. Methionine, important for detoxification. That's a big one. Metabolism and antioxidant production. And phenylalanine, it's a precursor to neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. So supporting mood, cognitive function, maybe helping even to wind us down and sleep.
Tyrosine's another good one for dopamine and epinephrine.
Yes, but
when we start talking about neurotransmitters.
Gotcha.
That's not an essential.
Right. Number 7, threonine, supports muscle and connective tissue health, immune function, and fat metabolism. Tryptophan, we also know tryptophan. It's like a lot of times I see you can get it from turkey, and that's why we get tired after.
Sleepy.
after Thanksgiving. It's a precursor to serotonin, that's why, which regulates mood, sleep, and appetite.
Hence that class of drugs,
Yep.
SSRIs,
Yep.
selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors,
Mhm.
trying to increase your serotonin
Right.
to help you with your mood disorders and your anxiety, generalized anxiety disorders.
Maybe you need some more tryptophan.
Maybe.
Histidine is number 9, supports immune function, digestion, and production of histamine, which plays a role in allergic responses.
Yeah, and homeostasis.
Correct.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, you heard a lot of other things in there beyond the importance of muscle protein synthesis. And like we said, these are found in your animal-based sources for protein, your meat, your fish, your poultry, eggs, dairy, and then your plant-based soy, quinoa, legumes, nuts, seeds.
Yeah. So it's available in food, right?
It's definitely available in food.
Yeah.
And we'll get to also the difference between the food.
And the difficulty with absorbing protein as we age.
Yes.
And the altered GI environment that we see now with a lot of the either drugs, just aging, disease, leaky gut syndromes, things like that.
That contribute.
All these different reasons why you're not absorbing and your body's not actually getting all of the amino acids from diet.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Okay. So what I read to you when I was just reading the 9 let you know about all the physiological functions that they are affected by in the body. So a couple of them we're going to go into detail about, and a main one is muscle protein synthesis.
Yep.
So you got to think like, what is that?
What is it? Yeah.
So here we go. Defined.
Right.
The biological process in which the body builds new muscle proteins to repair and grow muscle tissue. It's essential for muscle growth, recovery, maintenance, especially after exercise or any period of muscle breakdown. And then we can go through kind of like the steps on how muscle protein synthesis works. So like you have your stimulus.
Yep.
Stimulus being
your micro tears, right? So when you're working out and you're exercising.
Yes.
Right.
So some type of resistance, training, endurance, it actually causes muscle damage. So say, I'm just going to give an example. You're doing a bicep curl.
Right.
And you're essentially tearing those muscles.
Fibers.
Muscle fibers. Yes. And that sounds like, oh, we shouldn't be doing that. Right. But no, that's a good thing. You want those little tears. And we don't want to overdo something and have a tear. You want those little micro tears that happen. So that's like your stimulus. And then your body has that tear and it searches around for amino acid availability.
Right.
What's there? Are there essential amino acids? Particularly leucine is a big one.
Right.
Because these are the key signal to start muscle protein synthesis. So, gosh, I feel tongue-tied. So you have these micro tears. Now your body's looking for those amino acids. And so it can actually do the muscle protein synthesis.
Right.
So if the amino acids are not there, the whole action is not going to take place. So maybe you're one of those people that you're working out in the gym and you're doing great there, but you're not fueling your body with the essential amino acids that it needs. So it can't really do that muscle protein synthesis as it should.
Exactly. Let me pause you there for a moment. And guess what happens when they're not there and the body needs them for critical functions like hormone production? It starts to break your muscle down to free up the amino acids. So that's one of the reasons why just taking branched chain amino acids by themselves, if you only take the 3, when the body is searching for and needs all 9 essential to complete this cascade, it will break down muscle. It's very counterintuitive. It's sort of contradictory to what you're trying to accomplish. You're exercising, taking BCAAs, and then boom, there you go. You're potentially degrading some of your muscle tissue because it needs to free up and release the amino acids into the bloodstream so that they can travel to places that are needed.
100%.
That's what it'll do. It'll break down muscle.
Right.
And that'll happen after about 3 hours, actually. So when people go into these extended fast states, that's the bigger concern with fasting. But even these short windows, like 3 hours or longer, between meals, say lunch to dinner, right? Like if there's no food in there, your body will cease muscle protein synthesis.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of scary when you break it down like that, right? Because
sorry, I was going to say before I forgot, one of the reasons why bodybuilders often will set alarms in the middle of the night.
Sure.
Like they'll literally get up and take down 2 chicken breasts or something. And that's the point. We're not trying to say this is a meathead bodybuilding just only for them kind of thing. No, you heard all of that other stuff. So again, when you're in that window and the body's breaking down looking for it, it would be great. It would be ideal to be able to have free-form amino acids throughout the day in between your feeding windows.
And that's to do everything that we talked about amino acids do.
Yeah.
Okay,
sorry,
so no, that's good. Goes back to our chain of events of what's going on in our body. So we search for our body, searching for the amino acid availability. There it is, because we've done our job.
Yeah.
protein assembly happens.
Yeah.
So our cells use the amino acids to actually synthesize new muscle proteins.
Yep.
Very, very, very important.
On a cellular level, it's building muscle.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So and then obviously if your goal is to build muscle, which we should all be there, and I will tell you also why.
Yep.
But if your muscle protein synthesis exceeds the breakdown, then you are building muscle. Your muscle mass increases over time. So I know that kind of makes sense a lot with like a training standpoint.
Yeah.
You know, like again, I'm just keep going back to the gym because right now we're talking about muscle, but someone's working out. And if you're not fueling it properly, the muscle protein synthesis is not going to exceed the breakdown, and you're going to either stay stagnant or you might lose a little bit of muscle or.
But there are times where you're just sitting at rest, say you're sedentary, or say you're doing long international travels or say you're sick, right? Say you're just laid up in bed for a few days. And we saw that with NASA when they studied the astronauts.
What did I just say to you the other day when those guys that have been stranded in space,
they
finally come back? I was like, I couldn't
imagine the atrophy.
What is going to be going on with their bodies.
Right. But that was a study that demonstrated that bed rest, that sedentary individuals supplementing with essential amino acids did retain current muscle mass, whereas the ones that did not supplement lost.
Right.
Just started to atrophy and lose the muscle, because remember, the body's breaking it down to free up those amino acids for fuel, not for energy, but for fuel for the other biological or chemical reactions that are needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very important. So that's there you go, is your muscle protein synthesis and why that is so extremely important. And and while we're talking about muscle, I'm just gonna flip over to my notes on like why it's so important. And I have some of these stages written down because I've said this before if you've been following us for a while. If not, here it is. But we start to muscle loss is the first sign of aging. It's the first real sign of aging. And it actually begins in our 30s. So muscle protein synthesis just gradually starts to slow down in our 30s. That is the step one. So without strength training and proper nutrition to prevent that, that's when muscle loss begins in your 30s, unless you are doing things to prevent that from happening.
Well, I think the muscle loss still will occur to a certain, just a lesser extent, probably, because growth hormone starts to decline, right? I mean, that's a big correlation, right? The loss of growth hormone, our hormones in general tend to decline, right? So you'll see it in men and women, of course, too. I mean, but you also see, Lisa, is an uptake in insulin resistance too. So the problem there is that the insulin resistance, the insulin is a very important signaling hormone.
Right.
And that's I think where you see this acceleration of aging and muscle loss, which will lead to that sarcopenia. I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Sure, 100%.
But like the things you were saying, you're right. It kind of slows down. I don't know that it stops it or reverses it.
Right.
Maybe that's
in your 30s, there's a chance of being able to prevent that. But as you get into your 40s and 50s, I mean, it's a 3 to 5%
per year.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's just crazy to think about that because it's a lot. And if you're not doing what you need, then you're losing muscle at a significant rate and you're just aging faster. And also, if you just heard some of the things Ryan pulled out or talking about like insulin and this, that, you just realize how connected the body is, right? We are a whole, so when we talk a lot about this stuff, things can't just be treated with one thing, which always goes back to so many times when I say like with our supplements, I talk about stacking because each thing has to be working properly for the other thing to be working properly. And it's, again, our bodies work together as a whole. Can't treat like back in medicine, years ago, doctors, you just had a doctor for this and a doctor for this and a doctor for this. And their focus was on those parts. But now it's more and more like we're looking at the body as a whole in combination of all the parts, which is great. So we talked about the muscle protein synthesis. Where else was I going with that? Oh, the age rate. Sorry, I was going down to my age. 40 to 50, 3 to 5% decrease. Age 60, the rate of muscle loss just accelerates so much quicker, leading to the weakness, reduced mobility, increased risk of falls and fractures. And
high
that
mortality
too.
rate.
You've heard that when you're in your 60s plus and you have a fall, and you break something, what that can actually do to you. And I mean, sadly, we also have seen this with your mom,
sure,
my mother-in-law.
Of course.
And I mean, she was rocking and rolling, doing great.
Yeah. Tripped playing pickleball and cracked her hip.
Yeah. And now, I mean, I don't know how much recovery we can go from here.
Yeah, but again, we're working with her, right?
Yeah.
And we're adding in all these essential vitamins, minerals, and essential amino acids. Yeah,
I'm telling her every day.
Every day.
You make a protein shake.
Yeah,
You take
because
amino
I see it in
acids.
her, and I know it's a common thing, but they just don't have the appetite for protein. There's just
Which
not
is
an
true.
appetite
And
for
maybe
it.
you're out there thinking that, like, I just
don't want to eat a bunch of chicken and fish and red meat.
Yeah, I actually have. I did make sure I wanted to take notes on this because not only maybe you don't have the appetite for it, maybe your digestion is not really good with protein or a high amount of protein. Maybe you get bloated, maybe you get gassy. It doesn't. Your body's not
or maybe
working
you're
well
taking
protein.
one of those awful meds where you're blocking the stomach acid or inhibiting the stomach acid production in the stomach, and your pH is going up. You can't even digest the food, break the food down.
Right.
And then protein in the gut is actually a harmful thing because it can alter the GI or the microbiome of the gastrointestinal tract. So another one of those things.
Right.
But all the reason why it's the free form, are we gonna talk about free form yet? Or
almost. Okay. I was just, because that was actually a good lead into it.
Pump the brakes.
Right. But so when you think about who might consider taking this, and I've already said a few things that makes it sense, like we should all be taking this, right? But of course you have your athletes and active individuals, very important because of what we're trying to do. Individuals on a low protein diet, we were just saying that, or even a plant-based diet. Plant-based diet, it's hard to get the adequate protein that you need. It's hard to get the amino acids that you need. You can only eat so much,
And that's also why you'll hear us when we talk about whey versus plant-based protein, you'll hear whey considered kind of the gold standard, right? Because it has, and they judge the quality of a protein on its amino acid complex. Does it contain adequate amounts of all 9 essential amino acids? Really, that's kind of the scoring. So plants never really quite been there. Soy has been kind of right there, but thankfully the pea protein has come a long way, and they've been able to make some improvements. But still, to your point though, if you're vegan or vegetarian, you will definitely have trouble getting enough of the essential amino acids without supplementing.
Other ones are older adults. We just talked about that, right? Preventing that muscle loss. This one I just want to touch on a little bit more. This is individuals on a calorie deficit or during weight loss. So this is so important because, again, if you're not getting the proper fuel for what's going on in your body, right, then the functions are not able to take place. So if you're on a calorie deficit, the chances that you're not consuming enough amino acids from food, I'm just talking about food right now, is very high. Like, you've got to make sure you are supplementing with essential amino acids. And also during weight loss. And both of these things go along with like your weight loss injections. Okay. Not here to discuss weight loss injections, pros, cons. What I want you to know is what happens to the body when you lose that significant amount of weight. A lot of it is muscle, or the fact that you're also not consuming enough calories because of decreased appetite.
Of course.
And losing all that muscle. And I was also just reading an article on the fact that when you stop the injection, if you've lost all that muscle, the first thing you're gaining back is that fat mass. You have to really be careful and really focus on the muscle.
Because the muscle is also harder to put back on.
Yeah.
It's easy to lose because it's high energy demand center, right? Muscle is very high energy demand, right? More so than fat tissue.
Easy to lose, hard
and
to
then
put back on.
If you're referring to the GLP-1 drugs agonists, then you're talking about a 15 to 20, sometimes 25% loss of body weight, total body weight. And then 30 to 40% of that could be muscle mass, lean muscle mass. Yeah. Crazy numbers.
Yeah. And it's very crazy. And I get it. It's totally not
fair.
So
if you're on them, and that's fine. That's fine. That's totally your prerogative.
Right.
But essential aminos, it's non-negotiable for me. Like and of course, in my world, I know GLP-1s real well with the pharmacy side. I'm always telling people, you guys absolutely need to be using essential aminos. It's a secret weapon for
And I really do wish that all the prescribing doctors out there would say, like, look, here's your weight loss injection. I'm happy to get you started on your weight loss journey, but while you're doing it, you need to make sure you're taking 5 to 15 grams of essential amino acids a day. Awful. But nobody says that. So that's one thing we really want to preach about. Okay. And then people in recovery from illness, surgery, or injury.
Yeah.
It's a lot of repair going on.
Sickness, your body right? Is even cold.
Yeah, your body is working. It needs the amino acids. It
does.
Digestive issues, absorption issues, which sometimes you might not even know you have it. So of course, those with like gut dysbiosis, IBS, Crohn's disease, stuff like that, you're not absorbing the nutrients as well from your food. Yep. But also sometimes it's just a normal thing. Like, I know that I don't absorb it very well. Like, I have to take digestive enzymes. I do. And it works. So maybe if you know that's you, also in combination, you got to take the digestive enzymes. Different note though. And then also high stress. High stress depletes our bodies, or actually increases our cortisol level, and it leads to muscle breakdown. So this could be high stress from just overtraining.
Yep.
This could be high stress from just our daily stressful lifestyle. So it's doing more than just stressing us out, guys. It's actually breaking down our muscle, and we need to get more of this. Okay. So this is where I know I want Dr. Ryan to really hit home about. I've got my notes here, but I'm pretty sure you'll cover most of it. Is about free form essential amino acids versus food, essential amino acids we get from our food.
Right.
Regardless, we said you need to get them from your diet. So say I have like my chicken, eggs, beef, all that here. And then we have our free form amino acids here. So why is this superior?
Yeah, let's talk about it like that, because the whole food source of protein is your first and absolute, like whole foods are your first source, should always be the focus of your nutrition plan, right? But when you eat, like let's say you take a steak, you get 50% essential amino acids out of steak and 50% non-essential amino acids. But you get a lot of other stuff that's going on there. The body has to do a lot of work. We've kind of talked about that, right? With the digestion process and the absorption process and everything that goes with it. But when you start talking about just wanting the essential amino acids in free form, it just means they're no longer connected as a chain, right? When it's a peptide or a whole protein, the amino acid sequence just goes all together in a long chain, right? Like 40, 50, 60, 200, 300, 400, and on. Amino acids linked together to create peptides and proteins. Free form is just individual amino acids. So, and that's fine, because what the body's trying to do anyway on this whole food protein is break them all down into individual free form amino acids so that it absorbs. And then when it goes into the blood, they absorb as essential single amino acids, and then they reassemble essentially, right? They go where the body needs them. And that's sort of the theory behind it, right? And what's cool about it is that it's proven, it's studied, it's extensively studied, but it's absent calories, right? It's absent like all this other stuff. I'm sure you have some notes on all the benefits of why freeform are awesome, but you know, what a great utility and tool for us to use, especially as we're aging. Yeah.
I mean, the faster absorption, utilization, lower digestive load. So we just also said that if you have trouble with protein, if it makes you too full, it gives you gas, or you really just don't have an appetite for it, which naturally happens as we get older, and also naturally happens if you're on a GLP-1 or one of the weight loss peptides. You tend to lose your desire for protein. So even more, it's so important. Ideal for fasted training and calorie restriction. We talked about that. We talked about if you're on like a weight loss. So there you go, your calorie restriction. And you say a lot about fasting when somebody says like when to take, like take pre, post, after your workout, or it's great in between meals to make sure. So you said it takes about 3 hours for breakdown to start.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
So if you're having your meal 5 hours apart, have the amino acids, free form amino acids in between those, so we don't have a chance of losing any muscle. You know, especially if you work hard for the muscle, like we just said, it's so hard to put on and disappears so quickly. So preserve that, take care of it. Balance ratios.
Yeah, that's important, right? Because you kind of want to mimic again what the body is accustomed to normally seeing in nature, right? And for mammals, I mean, it's typically like to achieve the things that we've talked about, you want a certain ratio. It's not 1-to-1 across the board for everything, right? So typically you'd want to see a 40% leucine of the non-essential aminos that's in there, you'd want to see at least about a 40% 40% concentration of leucine, which is the main BCAA, the branched chain amino acid, but the one you said is most primarily responsible for muscle protein synthesis, but does so many other things as well. But
and why he just said branched chain amino acids, maybe you've heard of those, or you've just heard BCAAs. I know that I work out and I'm supposed to take BCAAs. Those are just three of your 9 that I read off essential amino acids. So you need more than just 3. So we've had this whole concept of like, I need BCAAs. No, you need EAAs, which also contain your BCAAs. So
exactly.
Yeah. And also these have no additional calories or fats. I mean, I already said in the fasted state why it's important, but it's also if you're watching, your calories. Sometimes, you don't want to say I'm going to put a 50 calorie powder in. You're like, maybe you don't want to do that. 1 to 3 times a day.
Exactly. Or you're looking at a whey protein or 100 calories, right? 102 calories for the plant protein that we have, so So for somebody like me that's trying to hit a protein goal, I'm 215 pounds. If I'm hitting a protein goal and I'm trying to shoot for a gram per pound, and I can't afford to put that many calories on, I can use essential aminos to help me achieve that goal. Now that is a debatable topic. You and I debated this on a prior Zoom, I think, where can you count essential amino acids towards your protein goal? I say yes. She kind of says no. And it's fine to be somewhere in the middle because there's no real clear science where you can say, oh yeah, whatever. So anyway,
right.
I do think it's that beneficial though.
Sure.
I really do. Right.
Okay, so I know you might be wondering dosing if you haven't been taking it. We talked about when to take.
Yeah.
And then the dosing of it. So personally, typically I always take 2 a day. Now, depending on what may have done that day, or if I had for some reason not consumed enough protein, which I do a very good job at. So it's rare, but I always make sure 100% I get 2 servings per day. But a lot of the research says, for maximum benefits, 3 scoops a day, or 5 to 15 grams.
Okay, so I do want the viewers to understand though that when you look at a supplement facts panel, which we're huge advocates of you guys reading supplement facts panel and learning how to interpret what exactly is on them, you would need to add up the amount of essential amino acids in here to figure out exactly what weight of essential amino acids you're getting, because there's other things in here. We have non-essential amino acids in here. We have arginine in there, 500 milligrams per serving. We have citrulline in there as 3 grams, so 3,000 milligrams per serving. So those don't count, right? So from a dosing perspective, the literature supports 3 grams and above for essential amino acids. Recently, as far as this was what I was looking at on my phone, recently, as early as March of 2025, I think it was. I'm sorry, that's the month we're in now. So I don't know, maybe it was just published. Okay, so it was just published. Yeah, published 2024. Anyway, it looks like it was March of 2024. Anyway, it says, January 25. Well, yeah, weird. Anyway, you guys can go check this out. It's a PubMed. It's a PubMed study. It's titled "Post-Exercise Myofibrillar Protein Synthesis Rates Do Not Differ Following 1.5 gram Essential Amino Acids Compared with 15 and 20 grams of whey protein in Young Females," which is interesting because Lisa's been really dialing in the fact that no studies have ever been done on women for the most part. Some here and there, but like
in the mid-90s, they finally started using females to run studies on. So prior to that, every study that you're looking at was basically on a based male population. And as you know, it's not just the fact that male and females look differently. We have a lot of different things going on.
And that's part of the reason why they were excluded because of that, right? Because of all the different fluctuations that were complicated, but no, that's silly. It's crazy. I'm glad people are now putting it back into focus. So basically it goes on to say, let me see. It basically goes on to say that the 1.5 grams of essential aminos is equivalent to essentially the same as 20 grams of whey for muscle protein synthesis, and which would include all the other benefits that Lisa talked about earlier. This is crazy good news. This is great news. Historically, I've kind of latched on to 3 grams. Ours is more than 3. We have more than 3 grams of essential aminos. We have 40% of the essentials, a little over 40% is leucine. So we really did dial in the ratios. And I think that's the dosing component that you want to focus on. But how often can you do that? Up to 3 times a day is fine.
Right.
Up to 3 times a day is fine. I think you can go higher, but now you're just talking about straight inconvenience. Like that just doesn't even and this is 30 servings. So you would, typically you'd go through one of these in a month, but now it would be one every 10 days, essentially with 3 scoops a day. And that's fine because we're so good at pricing, but that would be the kind of suggested dosing. And the non-essential aminos that are included in here, they can also ride along with that three times a day dosing too. So I do it first thing. I do it as part of a pre-workout. I do it with I should be doing my creatine at post-workout. I'm not. I should be doing I do it with my creatine, and I do it with my hydration amplifier. Yeah. And then I do it again in the midday between meals and sometimes before bed.
Yep. And personally, my favorite combo is in the morning before my workout. I'm E3 essential aminos and creatine.
Sure.
And then sometime between lunch and dinner, maybe around the 2-3 o'clock time, I mix another one with a scoop of my Super Reds.
Yeah. Just a quick note, she's combining it with the E3. E3 also contains the essential amino acids, and that was intentional. And you can combine them because the upper limit of dosing for essential aminos is it's pretty high. I mean, it's somewhere around 20 grams a day, something like that. It could even be higher depending on your health condition, whatever level of health, but you'd be fine doing that. You're obviously tolerating it very well.
Right.
I mean, it's well tolerated. People that use essential aminos, and it's what's fun. I mean, is it something that you notice? Ben always says it's his favorite supplement, won't miss a day, but it's not something he feels, right? You don't necessarily feel it working.
Right.
Because it's not an energy thing. It's
Sure.
not, but it's definitely,
You know what it's doing.
you know what it's doing, because remember,
so
it's
important.
not fuel like the macros, like carbohydrates and fat are for the body, right? I mean, it can be, protein can be used as fuel, but not primarily. So it's mostly there to carry out all these biological reactions that are needed in the body.
Right.
So
100%. And when you were just talking about, I was pulling up our price. So if you're a member, and if you're new to us and don't know, to be a member, you just sign up as a member, you pay $9.95 a month, but it gives you the membership pricing. So if you're buying 2+ supplements a month, which again, these are daily supplements, we typically have them in 30-day supplies, you're easily saving. So $19.95. I mean, that's pretty crazy. $19.95 for members, but just $24.95 if you're not a member. Really hard to beat that.
sure.
Really hard.
Even if you took another brand out there that's charging more, they're probably just some level of essential aminos, and that's it.
Right.
Forget the fact that we've added electrolytes. Forget the fact that we've added the non-essentials. Forget the fact that we added glutamine and some of these really important amino acids that are beneficial in their own right.
Right. Which, as you're saying, there's citrulline, L-citrulline, L-arginine, and L-glutamine. Those are your non-essential amino acids that we added, but are so great for muscle health, repair, cells.
Yep. Of course, gut lining for the glutamine.
Right.
Nitric oxide precursor to nitric oxide for arginine and citrulline. And again, talking about dosing is important. That's why we chose 3 grams and 500 milligrams. It's really critical for nitric oxide production.
Right. And then we have the electrolytes, lower dose electrolytes that you would have in our hydration amplifier, but just adds that bit of hydration, while you're doing it as well. So I mean, such a quality product.
It really is a high quality product for sure. And you've got, cool.
This is lemon lime flavor. We do have a fruit punch flavor. I like them both for different reasons. I actually like the fruit punch when I mix it with my super rinse, and I like the lemon lime one when I take it in the morning. So especially if we're going to be taking it 1 to 3 times a day, let's say 2 times a day, then get yourself a lemon lime, get yourself in a fruit punch, and then just enjoy the different flavors. All
right. Fun fact too, essential amino acids are the second most abundant substance in the body, just behind water. I'm sure most of you have heard our bodies are made up of like 70% water, but number 2 is amino acids.
That's pretty crazy.
All right. Time for our quiz. What are the 9 essential aminos? Go.
Right.
All right. Now that's it. All right, cool. I think that's a wrap. No?
Yeah. Did you see any questions? I wasn't looking at all.
Well, we just ran so long. I think there's no way to
chit-chatting along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see lots of great comments, which is very nice. Love to hear how you guys are enjoying the essential amino acids. And continue. I'm always available for questions. So lisa@livegood.com is my email. I'd love to help you with your health and product related questions and help you understand a little bit more if you still have questions beyond the 35 minutes that we just talked about essential amino acids.
You guys rock. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with us.
And again, make sure you subscribe to our channel, comment, leave us all your feedback. It helps us grow and it helps you learn.
All right. Until next time.
Bye, guys.
See ya.